We're looking for trading opportunities in the market's best momentum companies, and we look for the common factor that all these market leaders share before they turn into those companies that really shoot the lights out and become the most leading and dominant companies. That's entering what we call the Launchpad. Gary Glover has been through both lists and is here to explain the charts, the setups, and similarities that he looks for when trading these leaders. Now, Gary, you're looking at the market, it's been high, getting a bit more volatility, talking about distribution days and a bit of rotation in sectors and that kind of thing. What's standing out to you when you're looking at the market and for opportunities and trades?
Yeah, so it's obviously some of those VCPs sort of stopped working. I know I had 3 there last week. I think like all 3 of them moved up initially, but then they sort of faltered out. I think, I can run pretty tight stops. So I think 2 of them came back and failed, and 1 came back and then went up. But because of my stops, I'm going to stop out all 3 of them there. But all pretty much sort of break even, or the net break even for me. But it just meant that, some of them aren't working there. So that sort of tells your market's a little bit under pressure here. So definitely sort of telling me to sort of trade a bit lighter here at the moment. And yeah, it's definitely seeing, that S&P corrected from the 161.8, so it's a big level for that. We're starting to see a little bit of a pullback in some of my stocks. So might see a bit of a contraction. Bit eerie that the 60-year cycle to me has been one of the closest cycles, Chris, that we're talking about this year. And like that's almost down a high on exactly the same date. So we started to pull back here. So it doesn't suggest a big pullback, but it does suggest we'll sort of cool up into sort of early to mid-August there. So just might get a little contraction there. But our market might be different as well. We saw the resources be under pressure here, even though they've actually bounced quite a bit today, a lot of them. So let's see whether that's been into or not. But that's a sector that needs to sort of stand up here because everything else looks a little stretched. So yeah, so big going on there. I'd probably trade a bit lighter here. But yes, it's still some of those strong, and they're just still staying pretty strong, Chris. So just we're just going to probably stick with those. I think like the Spartan there, that has just kept going here, so it's been so robust there. The only thing to be careful of now is that, if we drew out trend lines there, we'll be seeing what's happening here now. Each trend line's getting steeper and steeper, so it's starting to get vertical. So once you sort of get 3 or 4 trend lines and you get whether ascending and then you get that blow off, but that's when you get an exhaustion in the top there. So that can be a negative if it's running too fast. Where if you're seeing some of the other stocks there, the past there, that particularly that look at those sort of, we did that Mag 7 there or something, or Mag 8, I guess. Those were, they didn't get too vertical all the time. They sort of they run and then they'd sort of congest and run and congest there. So just gotta keep an eye on this one here, make sure it's getting pretty far away from its moving average here. So that would be sort of something Minervini would be sort of selling into that, that heat. But yeah, you just gotta be careful when they get too vertical there. That's that's a bit of a negative there. But yeah, pretty good lesson there really in terms of how that has all built here, and sideways consolidation, pretty light volume on there. So until we sort of see some aggressive selling there, the trend's still pretty robust. On the list, I thought number 5 was pretty interesting there, just because the whole thing's had a pretty big jump here, big volume there, and has sort of started to tighten up here now, Chris, as well. So a big, we're starting the price actions tightening up in here. So even though a few of them are sort of haven't gone on here recently, we're still got to sort of keep a look at here. That's in that defense sort of space, AL3. So is
that a possible high and tight flag, that one?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you prefer to sort of see it high up in the range there, but sometimes they just tighten up here. So what's important here, as we've seen, is to watch the sort of volume there. We've had pretty strong volume up in that move. Did see a couple of days of selling. Volume came back into buy again, pretty robust. Had 1 or 2 days of OK selling there, but then it sort of dried up here. Has sort of bounced here, so OK volume. Pretty light volume yesterday on the pullback, so OK, not too much selling going on there. So this tightens up here again. Maybe definitely worth a bit of a watch there. It is a sector that has been has been pretty robust here recently. So in a reasonable space there as well. And I think the other one, well, number 3 on the list was Titomic there. So we've seen that's been pretty robust as well. So that hasn't sort of shown too much weakness yet as well. It's sort of had pretty good burst, pretty light volume in the pullback, pretty robust on the rallies there. You got 1 day of selling here, but then still haven't seen too much solidity as well. So that's still staying pretty robust as well. So pretty similar sectors, the AL3 and Atomic as well. So all sort of running together. What else we got there? So the AL3 was interesting. I thought RAM was pretty interesting as well. That's sort of a bit of a, been a pretty strong, robust stock here. Had a bit of a, ABC pullback there. Then it's tightened up again here. So that's when we sort of got our VCP tightening up, Chris, and then a little break here. So this is the type of price action we want to see there. There's the same pretty robust volume all the way through up to here. And it's pulled back here, no volume until really we hit the low. So volume comes in, again, pull back on no volume. Volumes come in again, pull back, no volume, a little bit of volume again, withdrawals here and then start to push through. That's a good setup, So we go back and look at, what it should look like. That's exactly what we want it to look like. We want to see a nice strong rally there. Even though it's a bit small for me, the price action, it's more than doubled here on this rally. It's contracted in here, done like an ABC, contracted again a VCP, and then breaking through the 50 here on some volume there. That's pretty decent. So that's what we want. That's the type of thing we're looking for there. That one there and SDV were the ones that I sort of said to myself, print those out, or basically at least copy and paste them, put them into my Notion library. Because again, this is another one here that's had that pretty strong burst, pretty good volume through here. So it's gone from that 20 to 40, so it's doubled in value. So that's what we're looking for. So a bit of a sharp rally. Pulls back here like a little bit of an ABC. Come back to the 50. It's not too bad here. Bounces here, starts to bounce sort of up out of maybe call this a little B wave potentially. Goes back up again, pulls back in here. There's just no, very little selling off the shoulder here. Volume comes in again, and then very little selling off the shoulder again. And then we actually get what actually happens in Equus, we actually get a nice trigger day here on volume before it breaks as well. So that's a good setup there. And it has a bit of a rally. The whole thing tightens up again, still no selling in here as well. So so you're looking at sort of what we're trying to capture there, what look for. Those are really 2 good setups there. Just from the technical look at the bigger picture, that's what we're if we're trying to capture those bigger moves, that's what a lot of them look like. So so I thought those look pretty good. Talk about biases and trading, Chris. This is sort of one that I don't get away. So I saw this thing. This whole thing was tightening up here, and thinking, what a shit company. So they've done nothing for the users for about 5 years, except rape and pillage and charge for more and give us less. But I did see this whole thing tightening up in there, and it has had a rally and then congested. So, but yeah, like it's weird because I had actually that downgrade there previously, and then managed to sort of sort things out. And I guess a bit of good retro we're just gonna tighten up, and but this is where you don't let your biases get in the way. Once we got a trigger here, we got a break of that B wave here. So pretty light volume all through here as well. So we had a good setup. Once we break through here, that was the trigger there, $8 to $10. That's a pretty good move. So $2 is what, 25%. Not too shabby in this market. So that's what we got to let put our biases aside. CVL's in on the small one there, sort of a bit patchy, but was a bit of a VCP under the high there. One thing here, did get a little erratic in here, but we didn't see any selling. So as much as it looks a bit negative there, there wasn't any heavy selling there. It's just gone through up there. CVL WA just got this one to watch there as a for me, just because there has been a bit of volume off that low there, bit of a pullback there, not too much. The volume sort of, definitely stepped in a lot more aggressively on the second drive there, and then it's pulled back again and kind of light volume again. Now we're sort of seeing a little bit of volume, pulling back light volume, pretty heavy volume here. Your light edge, heavy, light, sort of heavier here. This thing's just sort of building here, so put this one on my list here just to watch. It's a little small for me, 7 cents, but price action is sort of constructive so far. I thought that's all right. One of the other ones that's been in a long time here, Christian. This one here, people keep telling me this. You got to buy the stock. So a lot of smart people, thinking pretty favorably about the stock, but it does worry me that everyone's thinking the same thing. So. But yeah, I've had a few people tell me this company looks pretty good. But yeah, it's had pretty robust volume there. It's sort of, good volume on the way up here. There's a bit of selling in there, a bit more than you probably like there, but it does sort of, congest and then sort of dry up a little bit before it has a little bit of a jump again. Still a bit of selling here as well, but yeah, look, at the end of the day, the trend's still pretty robust. I think that's just sort of sat on top of the previous high there. So it still looks all right. Starting to overlap a bit here. But, so that looks okay there. It just does worry me that everyone's pretty bullish, that stock there. I noticed we had Zip and stuff on the list there. I think, Zip was number 30 there. So this is still pretty robust there, Chris. Still sort of tightening up in there. It's had that breakout there. Moved to new highs there. Bit of selling off the shoulder here. Some good volume did come back in again. Did have that little bit of selling there on that day there. Volume robust again. But the whole thing's sort of, still sort of congesting here at the moment. So still constructive. Just probably a bit more selling than you'd like to see. But I thought it was all right. So I know Zip's had a bit of a run there. The square sort of come off there. I thought Tyro was interesting there just because it had that bit of a bounce in there. Okay volume, pulled back a lot of volume, had a bit of a bounce there, pulled back here. So it's got the appearance of maybe a little VCP in here and sitting on the 50, but not quite as dynamic as Zip, I guess, as the leader there. So that was, I think that's our quarterly stocks. Yeah. So that's that's pretty strong there.
So when you're looking at the quarterly stocks, obviously you're seeing some of those repeat offenders, the ones that just keep on leading, they're coming back into the list and they're showing strength. When you look at the Launchpad, I know that in the past you've looked and tried to find themes of common names. So uranium's lit up the board before gold, and then you've successfully traded them for weeks afterwards. When you're looking at this week's list, is there anything that's standing out, or it's still a mixed bag? How's that looking to you?
Yeah, still pretty mixed there. There's a few, just seeing lots of pops here. Like it's not, I don't see too much building going on, Chris. I'm just seeing a lot of pops as well. Even some of the bigger stocks as well. It's sort of gotten very V-shaped, the market. So not sort of seeming to sort of build too slowly there. It sort of seems to be just getting nailed hard down and then bouncing pretty back there. So that makes it a little tricky there. Do you alter, do you change, and do you process there? It's sort of interesting one there. The one thing I sort of one thing I was going to talk about at the end there, Chris, kind of I was listening to one of the Trader Live podcasts there, and it kind of blew my mind a little bit, actually. It's sort of like it was actually an Aussie guy who's done pretty well in the US investing championships there, but kind of like it was almost a bit of a Zen comment there, because talking about reviewing trades, obviously how important reviewing is, and so I'm kind of thinking, I'm pretty good. I've got my spreadsheet. I put trades in to make sure it fits my my risk reward criteria. Then I fill out a review sheet all the details on there. I give my trade a ranking to make sure it's an A trade before I put it on. And then I attach a chart, and then after I do the trading, I review my process. And I've got plenty of comments on my review process to review what I've done right, what I've done wrong, and just what improvements I might need to make. But this trader here was sort of talking about, reviewing is two parts. It's like reviewing the trades that you took and then reviewing the trades that you missed. I thought, what's this guy talking about? And so how do you review your trades that you missed? So if you're a momentum trader, as he was, he said, well, you've got to look at all the stocks that have moved the strongest for the week, and maybe the biggest movers for the last few weeks, and ask yourself, why aren't you on those trades? What have you missed? Have they just popped, or have they been building and you've overlooked it? So the review process is not only just you're just reviewing what you're doing. You might be missing stuff in your review. Because if you're taking the wrong trades, then they're all going to review the same thing.
It's a smaller universe. It's not the universe of possibilities.
This guy's, he's only a young guy, but he's thinking outside the box here. I'm going to have to start reviewing the trades not only the trades that I'm taking, but the trades that I've missed, and the trades the things that I've actually, I know sort of doing the Mag 7, looking at the model books, when you go back and review those stronger stocks, that you're learning stuff from that. But he's almost saying, no, you got to go the step further. You got to look at the strongest movers for the week and the fortnight, and ask yourself why you're not on there. What have you missed? What could you do to, your learning process to make sure that you're on biggest movers? And I thought, well, that just kind of left me kind of reeling a little bit, thinking, well, okay, this young guy, he's on something here. It's like next level trading. Me thinking I've got my review process down pat here. He just kind of left me for dead. So, But I thought let's share that. I thought it was actually quite interesting and a different perspective on the trade again. And this is sort of what we're doing. Kind of like, well, we should be maybe reviewing these. And I'm looking at them, but looking at the weekly movers to sort of see, not only sort of identifying them, but why, could we have been on these ones? I guess. So I guess
you are doing that partially with looking at the leading companies and seeing what the setups are. It's just maybe taking a more harder look in the mirror and going, well, why did I not get on that trade? Why did it not meet my criteria? Or why wasn't it in my shortlist?
Yeah. It doesn't mean something. Obviously, like the first one here, I think RIM is number 3 on the weekly there. So to me, this is a good setup here. It's obviously a good rally, pretty strong, more than doubled, pulled back, tightened up, right through the B wave. So that's exactly what we're looking for, but it is too small, so it doesn't meet the gas. I feel slightly better about myself. But
I won't ask you about SDR and why you haven't.
Some of the other ones there was looking at these stronger stocks so they consolidate. Why aren't we sort of watching them? So so it's just definitely sort of very thinking there. And he was on there. That was I exploring. ACL was actually one that I did identify here. Just has had a bit of a pop there this week. Some good volume came in, and it was sort of one that I did identify there. Actually, did sort of tighten up in here, and then broke a little B wave in there as well. So,
what was it that attracted you to it? Was it a spring or a false break back in the May and June period, or what got ACL on your list?
Well, to me, this has been trending down for a while. But then the last part of it is just overlapping. So that's gone marginally lower. So like a little 1, 2, 3. That's often how they sort of finish. And then you need to sort of see something, need to see a move, and then that's just consolidated sideways. That's sort of gone up there 4 weeks, gone sideways 4 weeks. So it's a bit of a change of character. So I thought, oh, okay, this is, something's changing here. And then we're seeing volume there as well. So, and we did see these little corrections starting to tighten up as well. So you can argue a bit of a VCP in there, but you got to be waiting for that little B wave break in there, I think, So, so I've just bought this on this break here. So, got to follow your rules, I guess, as I say. I know sort of Adairs actually had ADH had a nice little VCP, Chris. I'll definitely miss this one. So not the best bounce here, just hit the 50 and then retreated. But then sort of did come above there and then tighten up there. So there's probably a sector I was thinking that maybe would be under pressure here. But it has popped up here. So it did give us a little bit of a break there. That was a good signal there. I know someone was talking about AX1, but I couldn't see the VCP in there. That's a little small for me, a bit not very clean there. But yeah, the Adairs definitely, that was a nice little tight VCP, and just the whole thing just 150 as well, so that's even better. So the fact that we pop above the 50 and then hug it, and then there's no volume in there, and then yeah, we break it. So that's a good signal missed there, sure.
Well, that's just before air we were talking about thematics, and earlier in the week I was looking at the 30-30 list, and Adairs was on there with a fair few of its peers ranked second or third thematic on the Launchpad. And funny you say the VCP, because I was just looking at my shortlist. There's 7 other in the consumer discretionary space that are also either just broken out of the VCP or in the tail end of finishing one off. So interesting. There's maybe the first one to break, and there could be a succession of a few more in the next couple of weeks. So
yeah,
time will tell.
Interesting there. So I saw RDX was sort of one that sort of has sort of tightened up. So it's had a pretty strong run there, gone sideways pretty tight there. Maybe a little ABC there and just starts to tighten up here. Still stayed under the high here, but then eventually does break through here. So it's hard here. This is a tough setup here because stocks had a pretty good run. It's a bigger sort of cap. It's probably not the high delta sort of stock that we want there. But then this has been happening a lot is that they've been sort of been happening probably in a lot more in the US actually than here, is that they do then break out, but then this is like a 4th wave and it's a 5th wave, and then they just shoot up and go bang, and they drop. So to look at that might just be intraday here, maybe this keeps going here, but I just noticed this sort of setup here has been happening a lot, particularly in look at sort of some of the stocks that Minervini, other guys are trading, just to sort of see what they're looking at, what they're trading. But yeah, a lot of them are popping up and then, pop and drop. So, that's the only thing there. Sort of like you definitely want to sort of see, sort of stocks got a, certain type of look about it that it's not going to sort of give up there. Thought VUL was pretty interesting there. That's still, I mean, we had our cracking VCP in here earlier in the year, and it had a pretty strong run here, but now we've sort of got another VCP here as well. So we've had, obviously this is a pretty strong run here, pull back here. Had a nice bounce here, some pretty good volume through there. Tightened up here as well, volume's a bit lighter. Had some okay bounce in there and just tightening up again. So this is definitely one to keep an eye on. We know that those stronger stocks either have the cup and handles within the cup and handles. They can have the VCPs within the VCPs as well. So we'll often see those sort of same setups occur over and over again. So this is one to keep an eye on there, VUL. So is sort of tightening up here again. So thought that pretty interesting. CCR's was that on the list there as well? I think that's sort of bit of a messy one here actually. I see sort of Shores have actually upgraded CCR's numbers there, so it's in the same space as CCP. That's kind of trying to build something here. It's still a bit sideways orientated, but does have a few high lows building there. But CCR's a bit small here, but do have a bit of a VCP in here, Chris, as well. Whole thing's tightened up just a little bit liquid there. But yeah, could be okay. Maybe probably a bit slow. Thought IMD's interesting here because this is sort of this is our sort of cup and handle up here as well in the setup there. And if you look at the weekly as well, the whole thing's it's been pretty impulsive move up here, then pulls back there. Definitely a lot of volume on the pullback. Volume came in at a low again, and then another good volume drive here. A little bit heavy on the shoulder here. Probably prefer to see it a bit lighter, but then it's sort of dried up here. But could be sort of setting up a little handle here. So not the worst looking chart here at the moment actually. So slightly heavier on that sort of down day yesterday, but was a bit of a negative day, pretty negative day for the market. But interesting to see where this can hold here, but that's not a bad setup there on AMD. So that was okay. ARX, a bit small here, but has had a bit of an okay bounce in here. The thing I don't see in here, Chris, is too much volume. A little bit sort of static in there. So I know it was interesting. I was listening to Oliver Kell interview there, and he screens for volume. So he screens for big moves and big volume. So I thought, okay, that's pretty cool, because that's one thing I think is pretty important. I know some people don't really regard volume that highly, but I personally do. So he's got the best record. He has the best record to date of anyone for that championship. So if he's looking at volume, then I reckon we should do as well. So, but that's not too good volume there for ARX. SMI. Well, this is interesting there, because this has had a pretty big move into the high. Big VCP there on the daily there, and the big weekly there. It's just probably the only issue there is that this has had a few big drives already. So a few big breads, but I guess the whole thing is still sitting above the old high there. So this might need a bit more time there, but it's just interesting there that one's with that big VCP just a bit large there. I think there was sort of one. There was one like that, was it? So not RDX, I think. RDY is one that's got that looks pretty messy on the daily. Looks all over the shop there, but you look at the weekly there. Had a pretty big impulsive move there, and a big, this thing's still just square off here, isn't it? So pull back, nice rally to high again. Pull back a bit higher, nice rally again. There's been pretty good volume too. Most of the drives. Most of the, it's a bit patchy in there, but definitely good volume for this first drive, but very light selling. Very light selling. The only sort of volume that came in maybe the low and stuff there. But again here, like this is light through here. A bit of volume came in of this low here. But again, pull back here. No, very little selling here. So I got a bit of a sell here, but I thought, well, just put that on the radar there. Just it's pretty light, pretty messy to trade on the daily there, but maybe sort of something will happen here in the future there. That's a large VCP there on the bigger picture there. So there's sort of ones just to sort of keep an eye on there. Temple on Webster was on the list as well there. Chris had a bit of a pop there. I think this is a name to actually watch there. I mean, at the moment, we're sort of sitting below the 50. We're definitely trending down. I haven't really broken swing high yet, but yeah, this has been a bit of a leader in the past there, and has had a pretty decent pullback as well here, back to the 50 here on the. So yeah, it's just worth probably just keeping an eye on this one there, just because it's definitely one of those ones that has kind of let out quite a few bull markets in the previously. So when the market sort of got positive, this has led a few times out here. So definitely one to watch there. That's about it there. There's a bit happening there, but yeah, just got to be a little bit more cautious there. I think the market's sort of transitioning a bit there. I mean, just that S&P, like when you see the 50 broken on the daily, so the S&P 500 were broken at 50, the Nasdaq has broken at 50 as well. But that's just not normally good signs. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be big there, but we saw when this broke through last time, definitely had a bit more follow through. So yeah, just gotta, when you see those things there, that should just have you a little bit cautious there. It's a bit choppier for the XJO. We're holding okay there. We're sort of, we did bounce off the previous high initially, then broke below it there, but maybe this little, we might come back to this, little, tightening channel in there. So maybe we'll come back down to here. So, but yeah, a bit messier there at the moment. So yeah, I guess, I think materials is the key for us really, because we've sort of seen I think the whole market there has come up pretty deep. So we've seen a few of these, BHP, Mineral Resources, pop today, and Rio as well. So that's a good sign there, because, if the resources don't bounce here, then our market's going to get dragged a lot lower. So need to sort of see them bounce, and then some other sectors that are a bit hot to maybe rotate down a bit. So not everything should be going up at once. So should be a healthy rotation there. So the market's going to stay positive into the end of the year, which I think it will do. There'll be a few corrections, sort of, but not big ones in election years. You've got to see that rotation keep going through the market all the time. So you can't have everything going up and down at the same time. Like when the market rolls off and if everything's extended, they all start to sell off simultaneously.
That's bad time.
Yeah, that's when you get a big correction there, where you should, if the market's sort of going to be going through these, movements up there should be rotation through the sector. So there should be some things should be up, some things should be down. So there should be just rotation all the way through that market there. So still seeing sort of any other guys having selective longs. So, I could see him a bit kind of sound. His track record's pretty awesome, but if he's pretty negative, he'll be generally out of everything and he'll have a few shorts on. Whereas at the moment, he's still playing selective longs because he's sort of seeing a shift. There's basically just moving. Different sectors are still showing. Some sectors are still showing robust there. So David Ryan was trading property trusts there last week. So they're trading some of the healthcare names, I think, some of the guys, and so there's definitely some sectors that are popping up here showing strength there. So that is a good sign overall. So hopefully that continues there. So, but I think our market needs materials to bounce here if the market's going to remain pretty firm here. So we'll see. Good sign today, but it's only one day, so we need to see a bit more than that.
All right. So in this market, obviously you're looking for those rotations coming through. You are still definitely looking at volume. You're reviewing your trades in a different way, not only your trades that you took,
slightly different,
and also the ones that got away. You've talked about VCPs and said that, well, maybe they're breaking up and they're not running as hard. Are you still looking for them? Are you still filtering through for VCPs and trading them, or are you feeling it's not working as well in this market?
No, I think it is there. I think there's still sort of, I think we got to fall back into the Sam Weinstein there, is that look for those VCPs and look for those sort of stocks that have, that have had a strong run, good volume, consolidated, tightening up. They're looking to run again. So we're looking for that setup there. Definitely got to look at the sectors as well. They're definitely seeing that the stronger names there are in the right sectors, and we're seeing a lot of sort of sister followers as well. So seems to be very sector orientated to this market too. So one sector's on fire, they're all on fire, then they're all, if they all start to turn negative, then they all follow as well. So definitely seeing a bit of that. So definitely got to be coming into some sectors where there's some activity there, because we saw like the property trusts, they all just ran together. It was all bang, So healthcare names started to see a few of them turn and started to follow, and that, we saw biotech, the sector sort of turn and a few more follow, and then all of a sudden they're all following there. So definitely seeing a bit of that. So we'll make sure that we're trading in the sector that is showing sort of strength. I think if your sector is starting to sort of turn down and some of the stronger names are turning south, and then you're coming in late to some of the laggards, that's probably fraught with danger. So that's the thing, sort of like, everything's moved to except this one. I'll trade this one here, but that's the reason why that one's not moving. It's a laggard. It's weak. So you just got to try and stay with the strongest names here. That's the key.
Well, that's a great key. And you've also analysed the 7 or 8 strongest days in the ASX just recently. We'll put a link over there to your magnificent 7+ bonus, and say thank you, Gary Glover from Novus Capital.
Thanks, Chris.